Hey fishermen, John Bergsman here from the Fisherman's Digest with a lake preview that I'm going to have fun giving. South Manistique Lake in the little town of Curtis, Michigan. It's really close to my heart as I built a resort right up here in Curtis, Michigan. Let's talk just a little bit about the seasonal progressions that happen on South Manistique. You know, South Manistique is a good-sized lake, about 4,000 acres, and it's also a fantastic multi-species lake. When you get going in the spring, you're going to be targeting panfish and bass. That's going to be the first two things that you're targeting, but you're probably going to accidentally catch a bunch of walleye. So let's talk our way through it. We're going to start in the shallows, bays, coves, and shallow points. One of the really important things about South Manistique Lake is as the year progresses, this becomes a pretty weedy lake. So early in the year, you're looking for newly emergent weed growth, whether it's on structure breaks like gravel to sand or muck to sand. You want that newly emergent weed growth or the little pencil reeds somewhere in your presentation. The fish seem to really gravitate to these areas. The bluegill fishing, the largemouth bass fishing, and the walleye fishing are absolutely fantastic on this lake, not just in the spring, but in the summer and fall as well. So as we go to summer, let's say you start your vacation in mid-June and it's going to take you all the way through the end of August. What are we looking for? We're looking for main lake breaks and major weed bed breaks. These are all over the lake. There's just no really good or bad spot to fish here as long as you're on a break of some sort. Presentations are really traditional on South Manistique Lake. You're going to be using bobbers, worms, bobbers and very small plastics for the panfish. You're going to be casting traditional baits for the largemouth bass, whether it's Texas rigged worms or topwater baits, spinner baits. All of the traditional ways that you would fish for bass work well on this lake, but it's all about getting on the right spot on the water. Early in the season, of course, we talked about bays. Midsummer, we're talking about breaks, weed line breaks, structure breaks. And in the fall, those fish tend to come back around full circle and they get back into the shallow water. So let's talk just a bit about walleye and northern pike. Those are two other very big species here on South Manistique Lake. The walleye fishing in the spring starts with crawler harnesses. This is a very traditional crawler harness lake, whether you're slow trolling them below a bottom bouncer or with an inline weight. Walleye fishing here on South Manistique Lake, it's a crawler harness lake. Northern pike are kind of a spinnerbait lake, as crazy as that sounds. Anytime you get a lake with just a ton of weed growth, the bass style spinnerbaits end up working really, really well for northern pike. You'll also, of course, catch a few random largemouth while you're fishing for pike. Same thing, you're looking for weed tops that give you 3 or 4 feet above the weed tops to the surface. That open water there is a perfect spot where northern pike like to nestle down into the tops of the weeds and come up and ambush the spinnerbait as you buzz by it. There's really, again, you're looking for weed growth and you're looking for weed edges when you're targeting northern pike. Let's talk about the season end, the fall. You know, all of these species are readily available and typically they all come full circle and back to the shallow water. You're looking for as much live weed at the end of the season as possible, usually looking from 8 to 12 feet. That's a good range here on this lake to catch active fall smallmouth, largemouth, walleye, and northern pike. The bluegill are present, but they do go deep in the summertime, so don't be afraid to go ahead and go out to the main part of the lake and fish in that 18 to 25 foot range of water to find bluegill and crappie. This is a fantastic year-round lake, meaning the ice fishing here is amazing as well. So come visit us here at South Manistique Lake in the Curtis area of the Central Upper Peninsula. This is John Bergsman with Fisherman's Digest. Thanks for joining me today.